So, All Stars 10, am I right?
In a season full of Aja, Bosco, Lydia, and Georges, they still pick the... Ugh. It's not hate to Ginger. It's not her fault, but we gotta talk about that challenge order. Wicked challenge, country girl groups, improv, snatch game. Seriously? Making Bosco lip sync immediately after the first round. Georges losing that final lip sync, Ginger being the one to choose the song twice, Carrie returning just to be eliminated after one round, not even getting a finale runway. Ugh.
Well, we are back again. Honestly, I wasn't really expecting to make this video. Quite frankly, I did have a lot of things to say about this season in general. I quite enjoyed the first bracket a lot, and while I didn't really care for the intense fandom reaction to bracket 2, ultimately, I was entertained by this season of Drag Race. And then, somehow, along the way, things got bad. Quite bad, actually. This was supposed to be the biggest season of All Stars ever. 18 queens from all different manner of seasons, from all different manner of placements. For its 10th season ever, the folks at World of Wonder wanted All Stars to feel as big and grandiose as ever. A tournament of All Stars, battle for the crown, champions for the $200,000. Drag Race promised its fans a lot this season, so, what the hell? Hey, it's Archie Merc from the movie Hairspray. Sorry it's been a minute since I've posted on YouTube. I'm still working on other video essays, but I gotta be real with you, chat. After creating the video on conversion therapy and Unchained Leader, I just kind of needed a break from YouTube. Hot take, but immersing yourself in homophobic spaces is bad. I wasn't doing great, so I needed a break. Sorry. But hey, if you're starved for peak Archie content, you can follow me at twitch.tv/thatarchiemerc. There's a good chance if you're watching this, I'm probably live right now.
Oh my god! What? Oh god! I need to concentrate on the next one. I'm playing hardcore this one.
So, I didn't think I had much to add to the conversation on All Stars 10 until about the midway point, and sister, I am pickled. Okay, no, sister, I am brickled. I am plucked. World of Wonder, I am in your fucking walls. I'm Latrice. And I'm the whole show.
I'm the host show, and I'm Latrice.
I'm the whole show, and I'm Latrice. That meme is so funny. So today, we're gonna talk about All Stars 10 and the broader scope of the All Stars franchise in general, because to be honest, there is something foul in the water. This spin-off cannot seem to catch a break, and I want to take some time to understand why. No sources, no academic research, just straight conjecture and analysis. Consider this to be more of like an opinion style essay than a traditionally structured academic argumentative essay. I mean, I've already got another pop culture essay in the works right now, and I simply do not have it in me to read another book on existential philosophy right now. Anyways, RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars is a cursed franchise, and here's why.
Part 1. It's always been weird.
Some fans of the show tend to romanticize earlier seasons of All Stars. Whenever there's ongoing discourse, there tends to be a vocal group of the fandom that heavily yearns for the older seasons, particularly seasons 2 through 4. Even this year, when season 10 has more or less had the most positive reception that an All Stars has had since All Winners, there were still people with rose-colored glasses on. However, I would argue that All Stars has always been controversial. Picture this. The year is 2012. Drag Race was on Lolo TV, Sharon Needles had just won season 4 and not irrevocably ruined her public reputation, trashy EDM was all the rave, and of course, Taylor Swift was never, ever getting back together. Drag Race announces its first ever season of All Stars, bringing all of the fan favorites back from the first 4 seasons of the show. and Mimi, I'm first.
Change your costume, Mimi. Your costume, change it around.
The idea of an all-star season could not be more perfect for a show like Drag Race. Some of the most famous drag artists in the world found their place in pop culture from the show directly. Sure, not all of them went on to win the title, but to some extent, every season has multiple winners. Manila Luzon, Nina Flowers, Latrice Royale, etc. The list goes on. Those first 4 seasons produced icons, so bringing them back for a second shot sound ideal until the format was revealed to the cast in real time. None of the girls knew that the first season of All Stars would take place in teams, so not only was the audience at home caught off guard, but so was the cast. This season is widely regarded to be one of Drag Race's worst, and I do agree. While there were some iconic moments during the season, Mimi I'm First versus The World, Raven versus Jujubee to Dancing on My Own, ultimately, a lot of the season's execution fell flat for me, which is a shame because honestly, I kind of wanted to see them bring the Gaffin back. I don't know. I want to see them level up Snatch Game in some way. All Stars then did not make its return until 2016, to much critical acclaim. The new format of having the top 2 queens of the week lip sync for the power to eliminate one of their fellow competitors at the time was incredibly novel and made for some excellent reality TV moments, and as we will later see throughout the next decade, continued to do so.
Pangina.
Manila.
This season was lightning in a bottle. We will never ever get something like this again. But it wasn't without contention. The fandom is pretty hot on Roxy Andrews now, but newer fans of the show tend to forget that up until recent years, she was polarizing as hell. She was the villain of season 5 and came into All Stars 2 seeking some form of redemption. So after a blowout first episode, Roxy remained in the bottom 2 for the rest of the competition all the way up until the finale. Fans wanted her gone, but because the elimination order was in the hands of the cast, alliances, explicit or not, played a heavy role in determining who went home and who didn't. Roxy made it all the way to the finale on All Stars 2 based on her friendships with Alaska and Detox, both of whom won all of the lip syncs that season. There's also a long-standing conspiracy that All Stars 2 was deliberately created to crown Alaska. Sound familiar? Now, it must be said that Alaska competed very well on both times she appeared on Drag Race. But fans, especially Ride or Dies for Katya, argued that both her and Detox were robbed in the finale. What proof do they have on this? Vibes. Just vibes. Now, do I agree with this conspiracy? No. Or rather, I just think that every season to an extent is crafted for certain queens to win. So while deeply entertaining, All Stars 2 was not created without backlash, and this carried over into every All-Star season after that. From season 3 onward, All-Stars was marred with controversy and discourse. I previously said that Drag Race is at its worst when it tries to replicate past successes. I mean, just go watch my video on season 17, link in the description. This could not be more true for the spinoff. All-Stars 2 got pretty much everything right. And then the producers tried to recreate that success until the horse's legs fell off. And this is in no small part because of all the different format changes and twists they kept adding. Like the first ever winner competing again, Drag Race, but make it Survivor, Lip Sync, Lollapalooza Redemption, It's a Goddamn Fucking Time, Democracy, Lip Sync Assassin, SmackDown Redemption, Look at Silky Go, All Stars, All Winner, Non-Elimination Point System. Guys, look, is that Jimbo? Who remembers the Fame Game? For the children. For charity. The fucking Double Diamond. Did you know the talent show determines who makes it to the lip sync for the crown? All Stars never really knew how to settle on a consistent format. Quick, how do I find a way to blame this on JoJo Siwa? Partially, I do think Naomi Smalls eliminating Manila Luzon is part of the equation, but I also just think production just kept wanting to up the stakes until the stakes exited the stratosphere and then went off the fucking rails. Now, structure is a big reason why All Stars has had a rocky journey, yes, but we also have to consider that going back can be a massive risk for your career. Returning to All Stars 2 every queen on that cast was a heavy hitter on their original run. Alaska, Ginger Minj, Adore Delano, Roxy Andrews, and Jeremy Carey were all finalists. Everyone else made it to at least 6th place, so everyone on that cast had something to prove and something to lose. Doing worse or having a bad reception on your second time around can immensely hurt your career. Jeremy left All Stars 2 with an even worse reception than on season 4, and it's taken him years to garner that goodwill back, which is deserved because he's talented and cool as fuck. The point being is, some people do not recover from their All Stars run. Other great examples of this include Milk from All Stars 3, Miss Cracker from All Stars 5, and Kitty Scott Claus and Queen Kong from Global All Stars. Which brings us to All Stars 8, 9, and Global. All Stars 8 was, until recently, my least favorite season of Drag Race. It was such an uncomfortable, unsatisfying watch. And a big reason why was because most of the cast was actively miserable during and after filming. Like, most of these girls wanted to quit to the point where RuPaul had to come into the workroom at top 6 just to get everyone's shit together. I mean, come on, man. How do you fuck that up so bad? The franchise had just become this radioactive risk that nobody wanted to partake in. So producers decided to return to the non-elimination, points-based format from the all-winner season that they used. However, to justify this season being a non-elimination season, they made it a season for charity. Damn. Gotta get those tax breaks, huh? It was nice to get some big names back on our screen, truly. Like, people have been begging for Plastique Tiara, Gottmik, and Nina West back on our screens for years at that point. However, a non-elimination season runs the risk of basically having little to no stakes at all. And I would argue that All Stars 9 virtually had none. In my most humble opinion, I think All Stars 9 was a PR stunt, especially considering a season like that was happening during an election year, and they got then former vice president and presidential candidate Kamala Harris to appear on screen. Again, the vibes that season, to me, felt so off. I mean, Mick looked so checked out by the midway point. Fan reception to that season was abysmal, and was only further inflated when Angeria Paris Van Michaels won the crown over Roxy Andrews, to the shock of a large portion of the fan base. To make matters worse, fans also felt that Plastique Tiara was robbed out of lip syncing for the crown in the finale because they decided to make the fucking talent show the determining factor in who gets to participate in the final lip sync for the crown instead of track record, you know? Because the talent show is a notoriously riggable and nebulous challenge. To be clear, I love Angeria. She was in my top 3 for the season. She is a phenomenal alumni of the show, an excellent competitor, and does an amazing job using her platform to lift up other artists. Her winning is not the problem. And some of you chuckle fucks still can't seem to get that through your heads. The problems with All Stars 9 come down to its flaccid format that disserviced its entire cast. Angeria, like Alyssa Edwards on Global All Stars, are the definition of Hall of Fame inductees. They both deserve those crowns, yes, and they deserved better seasons to win. I believe format inconsistency plus the negative impact going back can have on one's career is precisely why All Stars has been struggling for some time. When a format can be so visibly manipulated in favor of a certain outcome, it can lead to, in my opinion, unsatisfying, flat storytelling. Furthermore, because All Stars has become this nuclear waste that no one wants to touch, it leads to girls just not wanting to come back and leading to these casts that are, I don't know, lack synergy or any form of excitement for participating in the first place. After All Stars 9 poor reception, compounded with the colossal failure that was Global All Stars, the state of the spinoff was dire. All Stars 10 was a do or die moment for the franchise. In order to keep this shit going in the same way that it has, producers needed to do something. So, keeping all these issues in mind, how do you create the ideal format for an all-star season of Drag Race?
Part 2. A Hail Mary.
Okay, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I think the All-Stars 10 format does have a lot going for it. If you're watching this video, I assume you already know how the season is formatted, but in short, it's 18 queens, 6 queens per bracket. The first 3 episodes for each bracket are non-elimination based, where the top 2 are given 2 points, and then the winner of that top 2 lip sync gets an extra point, while the bottom 4 queens get 1 point that they must give away to whichever competitor they like. The then semifinal episodes play out like a regular season of Drag Race until it's whittled down to a top 7, in which a wild card pick is selected from the eliminated queens to return for the top 8 lip sync for the crown, and a shot at the $200,000. Having the bottom 4 queens give away points allows for them to have some sense of agency over who advances in the competition, as exemplified by Aja and Cynthia Lee Fontaine advancing during their respective brackets. When All Stars was just non-elimination points-based, it kind of became very obvious about who the producers wanted to make it to that final lip sync for the crown. But now, if a production favorite is a lock for the merge, you still have 1 or 2 spots that can be given away based on alliances and relationships. I think this perfectly strikes the balance between predetermination and cast agency. I also think just having short bursts of non-elimination episodes per bracket works great with making sure everyone gets ample screen time. One of the biggest challenges with the typical All-Stars format is that a person's storyline can be cut short at the pull of a lipstick. It can be kind of a waste of time to spend thousands of dollars again on another runway package that just doesn't get to be shown in its entirety. So having at least 3 guaranteed episodes means that you only have to pay for a few runways, an entrance look, and lip sync outfits that you can basically bring from home. It creates a much less financially risky situation for its competitors. If you do well, great, on to the next round. If not, hey, well then at least you got to showcase everything you brought. This also provides good storyline incentive. Suppose you did poorly on your first time around. You are given 3 chances to redeem yourself, and even if the judges don't reward that, your alliances certainly can. Irene coming back and slaying all 3 of the challenges during her bracket after going home first on season 15 in 16th, the lowest placing queen in the history of the franchise? Chef's kiss. This also offers queens who haven't been back on TV in years a chance to reintroduce themselves. Now, I do think World of Wonder is still looking for their next Kylie Sonique love. That is a queen from one of the earlier seasons that was an early to mid out that was kind of forgotten by the fan base, but slays the competition and takes the whole thing at the end. I don't think that's ever gonna happen again. The circumstances for Kylie Sonique Love winning All-Star 6 were so specific, but I do still think it is a good thing that World of Wonder is taking the time to bring older season queens back. It signals that World of Wonder is still interested in taking the time to invest in their artists. Like, Nicole Paige Brooks, Acid Betty, and Phoenix all getting back on our screens was genuinely one of my Drag Race highlights of this year. It gives them a chance to showcase what's changed in the decades since appearances, while also putting respect on the names that have helped build the brand. Unironically, I need Nicole Paige Brooks from Atlanta, Georgia on every All-Star season going forward. That is my mother! Furthermore, the tournament style can make for some great TV moments. With this format, alliances matter a lot more than they did with the Rumocracy twist. Maybe less so than the top 2 or Golden Beaver twists, but still, who you're friends with can make or break your trajectory on the season. As exemplified by one of the greatest moments of the season, Cynthia Lee Fontaine advancing to the semifinals based on the sheer goodwill of her competitors. The inverse of this, though, is also true. You can use the point system to your favor to ensure another competitor doesn't advance. Okay, so we have to talk about Mistress Isabel Brooks. Now, I'm gonna hold your hand here while we talk about this because things are gonna get a little bumpy. MIB is a character on Drag Race that nobody can agree on or be normal about. Everyone has an opinion on her, and it can range from culty Stan-like behavior all the way down to she should quit drag and die. And she's also currently in the middle of the Drag Race fandom's equivalent of Bi Sister. Maybe not the most apt comparison, but I am getting word flashbacks just looking at everyone's receipts. Like, the beef with Willem is so crazy. And now Eureka's getting involved, like what? Hey Puss, how is she? So, in the interest of cowardice, I have instructed my publicist, Dawn Stone, you can follow her on socials here, I've instructed her to write me a PR-friendly statement on Mistress Isabel Brooks and how I feel about her. Okay. DD Mega Doo Doo, 24 karat gold Labubu, Dubai chocolate, pussy wet, soaking in my bed. Mistress Isabel looks, Mistress Isabel cooks, Mistress Isabel shooks, Mistress Isabel books. Matcha latte rave, so chudai wata slout. Subscribe to my OnlyFans to watch me blow someone's back out? Wow, what a profoundly neutral statement. If you have come into my house expecting a hateful oration on the heavyweight champ, you have come to the wrong place. I quite enjoy Mistress Isabel Brooks's on-screen persona. I have since the season 15 promos, and that's not changing anytime soon. Say what you will, but I think she accomplished exactly what she set out to do on this season, which is to be a pot stirrer. Mistress knows exactly what her role is on TV, and she plays that role to perfection. Give this goddamn woman an Emmy, okay? Do her fans scare me a little bit? Yes. But I also love her work she does. So, whatever. It's fine. I'm fine. It's fine. This fandom is fine. She is good at drag, and a very entertaining persona to watch. What you have to understand about All Stars is that it is baked into the format that shade, backstabbing, and manipulation are rewarded. The name of the game is psychological warfare. You could play a fair game, but a fair game is just not a very entertaining one. Enter Mademoiselle Isabella Prox. That was my French accent. I'm getting prepared for Pokemon Legenza. Are you excited for Pokemon Legenza? You should watch me stream Pokemon Legenza on Twitch. Oui, Carlos, my dear. Oh, Baguette, Delphox, Greninja, Chestnut, Mega Dragonite, Mega Absol, Professor Sycamore, Team Flare, Rust Syndicate. I hate myself. I need to be put down behind the shed like Old Yeller, good lord. It's time to be serious now. You know what, when people say that Mistress reminds them of their high school bully, I mean, that's valid because we're all entitled to our emotions and feelings, and when we watch things on screen, it reminds us of our own experiences, and that could not be more true for reality TV. And I get that. I felt that way a little bit too when I was watching her this season. Especially during her fight with Asha. However, take it from a former petty bitch. Do not let your inner hurt child make your adult decisions. It's not our place to judge her character. If a castmate or colleague of hers has beef with her, that is their business, and it's 100% valid because, quite frankly, hot take, we are not meant to get along with everyone. People grow and change and are flawed. But just because Tina Burner goes on Roscoe's and says that Mistress is a bad person, that does not mean that that is going to be the experience for everyone. I don't know her. Her personal life and relationships are not my business. And they aren't yours either. For another perspective on this, I recommend checking out In Defense of Mistress Isabel Brooks. It'll be linked in the description. Wait, you're not subscribed to the best YouTuber, John Marks? You don't follow my cult leader? What are you talking about? Girl, what are you doing here? Develop some taste. Anyways, Mistress is great at making memorable TV moments. She will play dirty, and she will let you know that she cannot be trusted. That's the whole point. Her and George's quite literally net 2 points through lies and fairy tales during their second episode on top of a challenge win during the rapping roast. And in the final episode of her bracket, Mistress knew that the other bottom queens were trying to push her out of the competition by pushing Kairi to the semis. So she took the final MVQ point out of play by giving it to Lydia, who was already advancing to the semifinals, leading to her making it to the semifinals by half a point. And you know what? I loved it. Bad Girls Club Drag Race indeed. So overall, the bracket format allows for low risk, high reward casting. If a fan favorite doesn't perform well, at least she got 3 chances to showcase her talent. And even then, she can still advance thanks to the point system and what's given out by her alliances. Overall, the bracket format has a lot going for it. Maybe it does need another season to iron out some of the kinks, but hey, in general, I think the first 6 episodes were pretty fucking good. So what the fuck went wrong?
Part 3. Full of flaws.
Alright, girls. It's karma time. Yes, for anyone asking, this is in fact an authentic Azalea Wang karma jacket that was sourced from the Eras tour. I found it in a thrift shop in fucking Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. If you have any questions how I got it, sorry, you're gonna have to ask the owner of the thrift store, and yes, it did cost over $200, but it was fucking worth it, and I'm really glad I bought it. The bracket format has a fatal flaw. If producers are not careful about the cast composition, competitors can and will be outclassed. And when I say outclassed, I'm not saying they're bad competitors or shitty artists. I'm saying you're putting a goddamn Doberman next to a fucking Chihuahua. Both are cute dogs, both make great companions, but one is gonna demolish the other in a dog fight. And it's gonna be the Chihuahua. Get him, Drew Barrymore.
No, not.
Beverly Hills Chihuahua lives in my head rent-free. Can you all believe that that's a movie that people made? So now would be a good time to unpin the Ginger Minge conversation. Again, if you're looking for a bitch fest about Ginger, you're not getting that here. I am a Ginger fan. In fact, I have been since season 7. I was rooting for her on both her All-Star seasons. I wanted her to win season 7. This is not the home of a Ginger hater, and it will not be tolerated in my comment section. I am beyond proud of the hard work she has put in over the years, and I do not condone any form of online harassment she gets. And if you participate in that, you are not a fan of mine. I just want to make it abundantly clear that while I will be pretty harsh in my criticisms of this season and how producers handled its cast, winner included, I will continue to always support Ginger in everything she does. Point being is, it is valid to feel frustrated at repeat appearances of certain queens. I am a big believer that queens should only be cast 3 times. I get it, but turning your vitriol against said cast members is unacceptable. If someone's biggest crime is accepting a job offer, then I fear that we have simply lost the plot. So, why was Ginger Minge's inclusion on this season controversial? It has to be more than just the fact that she competed 4 times, right? Like, most people I know were pretty fine with Alexis Mateo or Jujubee coming back to compete on Versus the World. In fact, most people I know would have no problem with Jujubee returning to All-Stars and competing for a 5th time. Honestly, I just think it's because Drag Race fans just have not connected with Ginger's on-screen persona for the entirety of her Drag Race tenure. Derek the Drag Detective already made a fantastic video breaking down the decade-long history between the fandom and Ginger Minge. I highly recommend checking that out after this video. It's a far more in-depth analysis than I could give on the matter. It will be linked in the description. So Ginger has already made the finale twice, and she has a great working relationship with World of Wonder. She's been booked on TV gigs, she's released a book and a memoir. She quite literally is the definition of an all-star. But the downside to this is because she is such a TV veteran and seasoned competitor, it would kind of feel like anyone going up against her wouldn't feel like a fair fight. And a lot of the fandom tends to naturally gravitate more towards the underdogs than obvious winner storylines. I do empathize with fans that feel this way. Her winning this season is vindication for me as someone who wanted her to win season 7 a decade ago, but I will concede that the road to getting to this win was not handled well. Drag Race has managed to counter the obvious winner storyline in the past, though. The greatest example of this maybe ever, of course, is on season 15 with Sasha Colby. I've recently been seeing people on Twitter and, X.com sharing their takes on Sasha Colby's runway package and how it was just all mid. And I'm sorry, do the children not know? Do these people, these terminally online chuckle folks just want to feel special? I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you cannot top Sasha Colby. I'm sorry. That's Mother. Let's put some respect on her name. She absolutely ate the fuck down out of most of her runways and the season. I will not tolerate Sasha slander. So anyone with eyes knew that Sasha was going to win season 15 from the casting rumors alone. And nobody was really mad at this except for maybe the other finalists and some stupid bigoted transphobes online. But deep down, most viewers like myself knew that season 15 was gonna be a fight for second. And yet, Lux Noir London, Mistress Isabel Brooks, Lucy LaDuca, and Denitra all demonstrated very well why they are deserving of crowns and titles, despite the fact that Sasha did pretty well throughout the entire competition. Sasha was also a massive name in the drag community prior to coming on Drag Race. Even I was a fan of hers before I even got into the show. But I am of the belief that even if production crafts a set of challenges in your favor, you still have to perform well, right? Like, it's a two-way street. And yes, I am very aware that there are other factors in mind, such as how a performance is edited and what footage is left on the cutting room floor. I get that. What I'm trying to encourage here is a more holistic understanding of reality television beyond just gut feeling emotions. I'm trying to promote media literacy in the age of AI, goddammit. Okay, so now that I'm done defending Ginger's honor, I'm gonna go back to being a hater of All Stars 10 now. I am a firm believer that the tournament format can and will fail if you are not careful about who is cast in which brackets. And this cannot be better exemplified by both Ginger and Jorgeous' inclusions on this season. Let's break down each bracket. Each bracket consisted of a finalist, 2 early outs,
2 mid-outs,
and a returning All-Stars competitor. However, where bracket 1 differs from brackets 2 and 3 is that Aja, bracket 1's third-time competitor, has gone on such a journey with her drag since All-Stars 3 that she was basically coming back a newly evolved drag artist. You know, she touched the shiny stone and has reached her final form. So in this conversation about cast composition, we're not going to count Aja as a veteran because the distance between Aja's current and previous appearances negates that. To qualify as a veteran in this conversation, I believe you have to 1. Have competed at least 2 previous times. 2. Have previously competed recently, i.e. no more than 4 years in between appearances. 3. Have previously competed well. Aja absolutely meets criterions 1 and 3. She performed very well on All Stars 3, was thoroughly overlooked, and had a bullshit elimination. Yes, and her last season was 7 years ago. Like, if she was gonna go on back on All Stars 12 or Canada versus the World Season 3, okay, then I'd consider her a vet. And to be clear, not calling someone a veteran does not mean they aren't exceptional or talented artists. No. Aja's quite literally one of my favorite drag artists of all time. She was in my top 2 of the season with Bosco or Ginger. This is not about talent or skill, this is about frequency and appearance. And for another great example of this, Ginger Minj didn't return to the show for over 5 years in between All Stars 2 and 6. And on the former, she was an early out. So I wouldn't have considered her inclusion on All Star 6 as a veteran competitor. Truly, I do not want that term to be misinterpreted. Hence the strict definition. With the first bracket though, because of its composition, there was so much left up in the air. So when it was Irene the alien who curb stomped the entire 3 challenges, I was floored. Bracket 2 though, is where things get a little dicey for me. Jorgeous had just competed on All Stars 9 last year, in which the entire cast was given a hefty appearance fee and runway stipend and a guaranteed 12 episodes of competition. Because of those financial resources and TV experience, it's no wonder she was able to come back so quickly and have these quality runways and great performances. Jorgeous is an excellent drag artist, amazing TV personality, and one of the best lip syncers of all time. I thoroughly enjoy her, but she's competed 3 separate times in the span of 4 years. And all 3 times she has made it pretty far in the competition, and 2 of those times, All Stars 9 and 10, I would argue she competed very well.
The only thing wider than your shoulders is Carson's gaping hole.
She probably knows how modern Drag Race works very well, and as a result, she is more likely to master the format compared to her other competitors. It's a lot harder to make narratively compelling television if the obvious frontrunner is centered over her competitors. Bracket 2 thankfully avoids this issue though, because of, again, the drama. Everybody say thank you, Mistress Isabel Brooks. Also, shout out to Tina Burner, who absolutely nailed that design challenge. I think she deserves more love. Straight up, I just think she deserves more praise for how she performed on the season. But while Bracket 2 was able to kind of work around the obvious advantage that Jorgeous had, Bracket 3 was not handled well. Many fans argue that Ginger was heavily pushed in the challenges, and the whole bracket was tailored to her skill set. However, I have also heard a theory as to why fans feel Ginger has been pushed in this bracket, and I do agree with it. Aside from story producers wanting to crown her from the jump, she was given a challenge win every single week despite fans disputing most of these wins, because she had no prior relationships going into the bracket. Think about it. Going into this bracket, Alyssa Hunter, Acid Betty, and Cynthia Lee Fontaine were all at a massive advantage in terms of the social game. They all had prior friendships, and as later evidenced, would heavily influence how points were given out. Daya also had a previous working relationship with Alyssa Hunter, her season 14 sister, leaving Denali and Ginger Minj as the outliers. But Denali was only on her second time competing, Ginger was on her fourth. Personally, if I was in that group of girls, I would do everything in my power to make sure Ginger did not advance and not give her any one of my MVQ points. Not because she sucks at drag, but precisely the opposite, because she's so good at the competition. That's why I think people feel she was pushed, right? Because if producers just let things play out organically, I don't know if she would have made the semifinals. Many fans felt as though Acid Betty and Denali did better in the design challenge pairs, and then they also felt that Cynthia did better in the girl groups challenge over her, putting her in the top with Denali again. So that just leaves the improv challenge as her only undisputed win in the bracket. If they just let her fend for herself, I don't know if the other competitors would really give them any of their points. So giving her a win every single week was the only way to ensure that she makes the semifinals. Which brings us to the semifinal episodes, which are basically more or less judged like regular Drag Race episodes. Snatch Game was fine, I guess. It wasn't very good. I do think it was a weird decision to not put Bosco or Irene in the top that episode and just highlight Jorgeous and Ginger. Both of them did well, but I think especially knowing how the season ends further makes it obvious to the audience where this general story is going. And as for the talent show, I said it before, and I'll say it again. Lip syncing is not a unique talent or skill. It is quite literally what drag queens do on a daily basis. It is part of their job. At this point, they might as well call it the RuPaul's Drag Race Lip Sync Showcase. That would be a far more accurate description because once again, there is not an original talent in sight. I want Chanel juggling sabers. I want Miranda LeBrow doing acrobatics. I want Irene making a fucking glass of ice water. No, seriously, I found that far more entertaining than someone just lip syncing to their own original song. Or someone else's song! One of the things that make this season really suck in the end is that by dedicating 3/4 of the season to just the brackets, it doesn't give any time for the storylines during the semifinals to breathe. That could have been fixed by ordering more episodes, but of course, Paramount remains an incompetent parent company. So overall, the cast got 5 competitive episodes in total. Great. I love that for us. This also explains why Ginger's wins felt so hollow to some, because when the winner of the season wins every single episode back to back to back, and then proceeds to win the first episode of the semis, and then later the entire season, it can take the excitement out of the ride. Truly, they could have solved this by adding like 2 more episodes before the finale. Like, let things breathe, give more screen time to other competitors. It is hard to give 9 people adequate screen time in just 2 episodes before the finale. Thankfully, Mistress's crash out did provide some narrative through line, but by the time she was eliminated, the semifinals' overarching storyline had ended, leaving many other competitors to the wayside without much narrative stake. And speaking of leaving other competitors to the wayside...
Part 4. The fame is with thee.
This season's finale sucked ass. I'm sorry. I was banging my head into the desk the entire fucking time. I wanted to go in riding high, rooting for Ginger, Bosco, and Aja. And yet everything made me want to rip my goddamn hair out. For starters, a lip sync for the crown is not a good finale format unless producers are willing to leave things up to chance and outcomes develop naturally. There is going to be inevitable stunts and shenanigans to ensure the winner pick is selected. Hence, this season's finale. Ginger was fully set up to fail. If you pit her against the likes of Jorgeous or Aja, who are known to be pretty much unbeatable in a lip sync, it suddenly becomes an uphill battle to make her look good to an already rabid fan base. Any outcome would just feel weird, as later justified by the fact that World of Wonder showed their ass on Fashion fucking Photo Review, where they reveal that Carrie Colby did multiple stunts, including a cartwheel and a reveal that was just entirely cut from the episode. What the hell, man? If you are that determined to crown someone who is not a lip sync assassin or, is known for being a dancing diva or stunt queen, why the hell are you making the finale a lip sync SmackDown? I feel the exact same way about All Stars All Winners finale, by the way. Like, y'all did Jinx Monsoon dirty by putting her up against Monet Exchange, one of the best lip syncers of the franchise, to fucking swish swish as the top 2 lip sync of the season. And then y'all had to edit in some bullshit being like, oh, based on this final lip sync and your entire performance of the season, as if Monet did not fucking just annihilate her in that lip sync. Release the Monet cut, you cowards. Also, can we talk about the weird fucking seeding thing they did? Like, putting the first ranked person from Rey to Queen up against, like, the last ranked person. Like, tell us you're trying to reach a predetermined outcome without actively saying it. Good fucking lord. Oh, and really? Aja being placed 6th as, like, the biggest lip sync competition there? Lies and tomfoolery. Show us the results. I want to see how the queens voted. So, of course, fans are going to be upset that Ginger Minj won. They set her up to look bad. And so we have yet another case of All-Stars just starting off great, but by the end, devolving into complete and utter insanity. And this begs an important question. Why are All-Stars finales always controversial? Everyone said that All-Stars 2 was rigged for Alaska to win. Then All-Stars 3, there was the jury twist, which took the 2 frontrunners out of the top 2. Then you have the double crowning on All-Stars 4 that absolutely nobody was happy with, probably not even the winners themselves. There was also rigging allegations amok for Shea on All-Stars 5 and Jimbo on All-Stars 8. And then, of course, there was the upset crowning that divided the fandom down the middle during All-Stars 9. Even abroad, Blue Hydrangea's crowning on UK versus the World Season 1 felt underwhelming to some. Why does this happen? Why do All-Stars endings tend to feel very unsatisfying to some people? After spending some time reflecting, I think we can group most All-Stars endings into at least 3 different categories. The first category is the obvious crowning. This ending is the most common on All-Stars. Why obvious crownings tend to not work is because they place heavy emphasis on a particular queen at the expense of the rest of the cast. Typically, these winners are production favorites, not necessarily fan favorites, and they usually have competed very well on previous appearances. Obvious winner storylines tend to work better on regular seasons of Drag Race than on All-Stars. Why? Because on All-Stars, the cast already has pre-existing fan bases. Even going into All-Star 6, Serena fucking Cha-Cha had fans rooting for her. And because we have some idea already of what to expect, fans want to see their favorites get a fair shake or get their flowers. They want to see a robbed queen get vengeance, or an early out get her flowers, or a fan favorite runner-up finally take the crown. So to come into a season and see cast members play second fiddle once again, it doesn't feel very good. If it feels like they're gonna crown a specific person just from the promos alone, why tune in every single week? Just skip to the finale. It's just not worth the waste of your time. To quote the love of my life, Megami, this could have been an email. And I agree. I don't like watching a season of Drag Race and having it feel like it's a glorified legacy award. And someone could make the argument that All-Stars is a glorified legacy award. More on that later. On All-Stars, obvious endings that did not work for me were, in my opinion, All-Stars 8, 10, and of course, Global All-Stars. Some may also argue that All-Stars 5 kind of fits into this category, but I don't really see that. I think Miss Cracker, Blair St. Clair, and Jujubee were all given adequate screen time and storylines, and honestly, I kind of liked All-Stars 5. Now, I do think an obvious crowning can work on All-Stars. A great recent example of this is, in fact, Lemon on Canada versus the World Season 2, a terminally underrated season that deserves far more love. Lemon's storyline on UK versus the World Season 2 was about redemption. It's time to fulfill my destiny. She went from a frontrunner on Canada's Drag Race Season 1 to the pork chop on UK versus the World Season 1 to the shock of literally everyone, she was in the bottom for reasons. I still don't really understand why she was put in the bottom for the talent show. The reason why Lemon's storyline worked so well on Canada versus the World, though, was because for the same reasons that they worked well on regular seasons of Drag Race. The producers took the time to give all of the other competitors fleshed out, well-rounded storylines. All of the other finalists, including Kennedy Davenport, Alexis Mateo, and Cheryl, were given fleshed out, well-rounded storylines explaining why they were equally as deserving of the crown. And in response to that, Lemon continued to showcase her prowess, saying, yeah, I know they're all great competitors. They're on my neck right now. And here's why I'm better. But more often than not, obvious crownings just don't work on All Stars, leading to accusations of rigging and pushing the rest of the cast to the wayside for a seemingly predetermined outcome. Getting some water. Oh, no, get back here. Get back here. There we go. Ah, no. Water? I hardly even know her. I'm gonna die alone. I'm sure someone in the comment section is gonna hear me say that, thank you. Girl, you can't hurt me. Every mean thing someone has said about me on the internet, I've already said about myself. So, category 2 is the twist crowning. Now, twist endings on Drag Race tend to happen every so often, and these happen to varying degrees of success. Why these crownings tend not to work, though, is because they often feel like narrative blue balls. You spend the entire season building towards one competitor winning, only to switch it at the last second. All-Stars twist endings are made worse by the fact that the entire season, including its finale, is pre-taped, which means that the product that producers expect to be delivered might not be received as intended. So whenever there is a twist crowning or a twist ending, it typically feels like a response to production shenanigans or internal whatever, and not necessarily a genuine response to fan reception for an underdog. The All-Stars 3 jury twist put Trixie Mattel and Kennedy Davenport into the top 2 over the other frontrunner and Bibi Zahara Benet, who arguably competed better, but of course, the cast was not told about this twist until the very end. All-Stars 4 twinner ending felt like a left field compromise that was Frankenstein together at probably quite literally the last minute. And then of course, there's All-Stars 9's ending, which honestly, that was kind of a head scratcher, I'm not gonna lie. Angeria performed exceptionally well during the first half, but by the midpoint, the narrative felt like it was shifting more in Roxy's favor. It felt like All-Stars 9's ending of the season was telling fans, yeah, Angie did great, but here's why Roxy is gonna win the rivalry in the end. And Vanjie's also here. So if Roxy Andrews went into the finale of All-Stars 9 with a winner edit, massive fan support, did very well in the final lip sync for the crown and had a great track record all season long, Angeria winning felt kind of perplexing to a lot of fans. Now, my answer to this is, on a season based off of charity, who better to give that title to than someone who embodies charity and kindness the best? Angeria Paris motherfucking Van Michaels. Literally, I have not seen someone be that ride or die for other queens and lifting others up, especially international queens, than Belak Boy. You know, when he's not actively cursing people with his preseason top 4s. Rose me back, Matthew, I dare you. To me, Angeria is a class act. She's kind, supportive, charismatic, and charitable. Even if the narrative was pointing elsewhere, I really do think that she embodies the theme of the season and is just a fantastic representative for the franchise. Like, the fact that she wasn't even mentioned at all on the last 2 episodes of this season's pit stop, ooh, World of Wonder, when I catch you! But 2 things can be true at once. Angeria can be an excellent representative of the franchise and more than deserving of the title, and her storyline to getting to that win could have been handled better. And whose fault is that? Definitely not hers, but judging by the fan response to that finale, you would think that Angeria killed the motherfucking Pope. When All-Stars does succeed at giving us an unexpected ending like Kylie Sonique Love winning All-Star 6, it feels more so like a genuine response to listening to what fans are saying and asking of the finale of that season. But generally, twist endings do not work on Drag Race, especially on All-Stars. They spark controversy and especially put the winner in harm's way. They are often reckless, miscalculated decisions that are a result of poor editing, storytelling, and production decisions that lead to an entire disservice to its entire cast. Category 3 is the underwhelming crowning. These are the least common finales on All-Stars, considering it's only happened a handful of times. So I won't touch on this too much, but this usually does happen in response to the original winner pick going home early when it's not intended to. Case and point again, Blue Hydrangea winning UK versus the World Season 1. Again, I have no issue with Blue Hydrangea. I think she's a fierce drag queen, a talented artist. I enjoyed her on both of her seasons, and I thoroughly enjoyed her run on All Stars 1, being the Queen Slayer and sending Pangina Heels home. That moment unironically lives in my head rent-free all the time. However, UK versus the World Season 1 was widely panned by fans, and this was because, of course, the two strongest competitors, Jimbo and Pangina Heels, were sent home early in the competition back to back. Pangina eliminated Jimbo, and then Blue eliminated Pangina, and then in the semifinal episode, that basically left Janie Jacquet being the only frontrunner with 2 wins, and guess who Jujubee sent home that episode? Janie Jacquet, leaving the entire top 4 of the season with middling track records and 1 win each. And none of them really felt like they had a winner storyline going in, which is kind of why I think fans felt kind of underwhelmed by the finale. And this wasn't because any of the queens on that cast were not likable or untalented. Well, Bag of Chips did get kind of a rough villain edit that season, but in general, none of them were really given a winner storyline or edit. And this is the producer's fault because they had the entire season pre-taped, including both Blue and Mo Hart's crownings filmed. They could have taken the time to really set up Blue Hydrangea being the stealth winner of the season. They did not do that properly. UK versus the World Season 1 embodies the biggest flaw of the standard All-Stars format, which is basically producers go into a season of Drag Race having their eggs in a couple baskets, and when those baskets get set on fire and the eggs stomped on, that leads them to kind of scramble and figure out a kind of last-minute decision, and more often than not, they're not really good at pivoting. Production's job is to highlight their ideal finalist batch while trying to also simultaneously hide their hand as best as possible. And All-Star seasons tend to give far more agency to the cast, which can lead to cast decisions basically fucking up the entire producer's predetermined outcome, and again, scrambling to figure out how to piece together some cohesive narrative by the finale. Now, I'm searching for a common thread between all 3 types of these endings. Can you guess what it is? In all instances where an All-Stars ends with poor reception, the reason why is because, you guessed it, production. I don't think these chuckle fucks care about the audience, or their casts for that matter. The hysteria and outrage produced by All-Star seasons genuinely is because of the people in charge handling all of the narratives and storytelling decisions that feel unsatisfying and controversial. But I think this is intentional. I don't think the Drag Race production team is stupid. If they were, they wouldn't have distanced themselves from the winner of season 4. World of Wonder is a multi-million-dollar media corporation. The executives and showrunners behind RuPaul's Drag Race are intelligent. Stupid is not a word I would use to describe them. But what I would describe them as is cynical. All-Stars 1 set up its cast for failure by not telling them they were going to be competing in teams, setting social media ablaze. All-Stars 2 placed eliminations in the hands of its cast, leading to numerous fan favorites and frontrunners getting cut, while the worst performing queen made it all the way to the finale. The fandom was discoursing every single week, generating more attention. More attention means promoting more viewership means more money. Why didn't they tell the cast about the jury twist happening at the end of All-Stars 3? Well, from aside of the fact that they wanted to pull the wool over their heads, having this big reality TV gotcha moment is gonna probably generate more hype online. Are you sensing a common theme here? Controversy and discourse are deliberate marketing strategies of most reality TV shows, but especially RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars. They are counting on fans of the show to be upset about who is eliminated and who wins the season. And who are the victims in the scenario? Not the fans, not production, but the contracted workers who are offered gig work and an opportunity to hopefully extend the longevity of their artistic careers. I really cannot stress enough how upsetting it is to see fans dogpile these talented artists for circumstances out of their control when they're just left to what? Just carry on with their days like everything's normal? Is this even fucking ethical? These queens are back for All Stars, but at what cost? If controversy and slop is the name of the game, then why do we even have All Stars?
Part 5. Why is All Stars?
I really do feel bad for Ginger Minj. Like, I know that she's fine, she's gonna be okay, she's $200,000 richer, and she's about to embark on her dream career on Broadway. Ultimately, she is going to be fine, she will not be harmed, not in the slightest. And yet, I feel terrible for her. Like, after competing 4 times over the span of a decade, the overwhelming response to her victory has been online, not finally, but fucking really? That sucks. Like, that really must suck to see. This achievement that should have been a joyous occasion for her has been marred by discourse and controversy. Even the folks who are like not actively mad at her but are still saying like, it's not your fault you won, production just played in our faces, like, we're not wrong, but it still must suck to hear that. Like, it must feel deeply invalidating to be on the other side of that. All she did was accept a job offer and perform to the best of her capabilities. Her challenge wins, her crowning, all of them are just completely out of her control. And I'm part of the problem too here. Like, I'm just throwing more gasoline onto the discourse fire. So while I have your attention, let's take the time to dig a little bit deeper and ask some bigger questions. Why is All Stars? No, seriously, why is this a thing? Why do we keep getting this dumpster fire shit spin-off franchise every single year if all it does is just promote dog shit and mediocre television? Well, the first answer to that question is understanding the difference between America's Next Drag Superstar and Drag Race Hall of Fame. A regular season of Drag Race is looking to anoint someone that's going to be its primary ambassador for the following year. They also want someone who is going to be a representative of what can be considered mainstream drag. By crowning winners like Violet, Simone, and Aquaria, Drag Race is telling its viewers that the future of drag is high fashion. Winners like Sasha Colby and Willow Pill show that drag is more than just man dressing up as woman, but that the past and future of drag has always been built on the backs of its trans participants. Sasha Velour paid tribute to drag's punk and activist and gender non-conforming roots. Nymphia Wind showcased that there's more to drag than just the American perspective. Every single winner crowned America's Next Drag Superstar basically highlights the future of drag in some kind of way. And because RuPaul's Drag Race is the largest platform for drag in the world, they basically are ultimately the tastemakers of what is considered mainstream drag. And of course, this comes with both upsides and downsides, but that is ultimately the reality we live in. All Stars is a different story. The Drag Race Hall of Fame does not function in the same way. Whereas Next Drag Superstar implies the future, Hall of Fame seeks to honor its past. That's why there's this argument that All Stars is a legacy award. Because it is a legacy award. A Hall of Fame inductee implies that you've put in the work, made excellent accomplishments, and you've represented the brand to the highest extent even without a title. But that's also why a lot of these endings feel so hollow, predetermined. I watch All Stars because I love seeing the growth that these artists have made. I love seeing what a bigger budget, touring experience, more life experience, and greater emotional intelligence can do to help bring these artists to brand new heights. I love seeing redemption storylines, watching someone with something to prove show that they are in fact that bitch. That's why fans responded so well to All Stars contestants like Irene the Alien, James Mansfield, Lala Ree, Raj O'Hara, and of course Kylie Sonique Love. We loved seeing someone that was so hungry and determined showcase that they can in fact master the reality TV format. It's also just great to see your favorite just get more screen time and attention. Even if they don't end up taking it for a second time, it's still great to see just girls you've been begging to come back for years finally grace your TV screens again. So, when all these factors come into conflict with obvious production bullshit, there's cognitive dissonance. I think we watch reality TV and reality TV competitions because they act as microcosms for the human experience. Take Mistress Isabel Brooks' Going Home, for example. After 2 episodes of total chaos, poking the bear, and instigating conflict, she was sent home by her newly anointed drag daughter Lydia B. Collins, only to be replaced by Carrie Colby, the wildcard pick who she previously had done dirty during her bracket. Justice served. The audience sees reality TV as an extension of real-world scenarios, and as a result, we do project our own morality onto the screen. But that is a terrible idea. Nothing that happens on that screen is a coincidence. There is no justice served. There is only storylines being carefully manipulated to simulate the feeling of justice served. All Stars does not exist to highlight the future of drag. It's not there to showcase bright, new, shiny stars in the making. It serves the function of crowning legacy acts and queens who might have missed out on the title, but have ultimately continued to highlight and support the brand of RuPaul's Drag Race and, by extension, World of Wonder. That's why it also happens every year now. Instead of happening every 4 years like some of us want it to, myself included, World of Wonder has to keep as many queens as possible in front of the fans' minds in order to generate more attention. More people watching means more future seasons. More future seasons means more money. These people do not care about a fair game. They do not care about what is right, or what is equitable, or doing right by their casts. They care about the bottom line and making a profit. And for that reason alone, RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars will always be a cursed franchise. As long as World of Wonder continues to produce All-Stars for the sake of controversy, then it will never be the franchise that fans want it to be, or the franchise that queens deserve.
Part 6. What do?
God, how do I get out of this video? I know that ending this on a depressing note, All Stars is cooked, is just not really what I want this video to be. So I do want to take a second to shout out all 18 members of the cast of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 10 and acknowledge that they're all talented as hell, insanely cool, and have put in the work to create the best TV they could. The drag artists that come onto Drag Race continue to be the lifeblood of the show, and I really hope they know how grateful I am that they even just showed up for the job and put their time and effort into this, even if it's just not what we deserve or what they wanted. I don't want this video to be a rage fest. We can all learn something from this season. So let's try to figure out what can be done from a producer and a fan standpoint going forward to make things better. Firstly, improvements to the tournament format. I think this is the best All-Stars format we have had since the top 2 lip sync for your legacy twist. The MVQ point system does a great job balancing cast agency with production rigory, but there needs to be more episodes in general per bracket to let things just pan out. Give the brackets at least 4 episodes. That way, it really just lets storylines develop, alliances form, and strategy to play out. 3 episodes per bracket was not enough for me. I needed more Deja Sai and Nicole Paige Brooks. As for the semifinals, again, more episodes. Let it pan out like a typical season of Drag Race and whittle the cast down to at least a top 6, if not a top 4. If you're gonna do a lip sync for the crown finale, make sure the queen that you want to crown is set up for success by being a lip sync assassin. Because while Ginger is a great performer, George just kind of ate her alive in that final lip sync. Otherwise, like, I don't know, just like do a remix or something. Honestly, I kind of miss those. Bring them back. Also, for the love of God, if you are going to put a veteran like Ginger on the cast, for the love of God, throw her up against some other vets, please. Imagine if, like, I don't know, Alexis Mateo went back to compete for a 5th time after Canada versus the world. That probably wouldn't feel like a fair fight, right? Unless you threw up against the likes of, say, I don't know, Cheryl, or Kennedy Davenport, or fucking Ms. Cracker again, or I don't know, Candy Muse. You know what I mean? Like, throw her up against other vets. In my humble opinion, I think the US producers should just cap off someone's time competing at 3. 1 regular season, 2 All-Stars runs, that's it. If you want to throw them on Versus the World, that's totally fine for a 4th time, but if they compete on Versus the World for their 3rd time, that's it. No more chances, don't bring them back again. That's just how I think it should be done. Furthermore, production needs to do a better job of taking the time to listen to fans of the show and take litmus tests of what fans are asking for. All-Star seasons are ripe with opportunities for fan service. And while I don't think it is good practice to say, spend your entire time trying to appease a rabid, toxic fan base, there can be more done to listen to what fans of the show are asking for and delivering on what they are needing and wanting. You are delivering a product to your fans, make sure it's quality and what they're asking for. And I said this in my Global All-Stars video, but World of Wonder, take the goddamn time to provide better aftercare for your cast. If you're gonna cast queens on a season of Drag Race that are notoriously contentious with the fan base for whatever reason, or I don't know, give someone a win even if fans don't like them, pay for their goddamn therapy. Make sure that they still have opportunities afterward. World of Wonder, the only reason you have this fucking show is because of the queens that sustain it. You need to do a better job of making sure that they are taken care of and standing up for them, not leaving them out to fucking dry and fend for themselves. It would be a damn shame if they say, I don't know, unionized in protest because they weren't being treated like they deserve. I don't know. No more All-Stars, I guess. No, the multi-million-dollar corporation can't exploit queer and trans artists anymore for profit. Boo-hoo, sad. You need to take better care of your damn queer and trans artists, especially during these trying political times. On the flip side, what can we as fans do? What can we do to make All-Stars a better experience? For starters, good lord, we need to learn how to keep things in the group chat. We are all entitled to using our platforms as we see fit, but take a second to reflect before you post. Rage posting or sending death threats or tagging an artist in your hate comments, it's just tacky. You don't look like a healthy person. You don't look like you're functioning right. You look like a little bitch baby. That's what you really look like. You look like a little bitch baby. And if you really need to be that vitriolic about someone you see on your TV screen, just like find a friend or two or a group chat to like privately express that contempt. Even if you think that there is absolutely no chance of the person you're talking about seeing this post because you're a small account with a drag race queen as your profile picture with a bunch of hashtags in your name, and you know, you've got like 5 followers, I promise you that someone can and will see that post. Do not be a contributor to someone's ongoing mental health crisis. I really don't want to get to a point where this vicious cycle of fandom warfare just escalates to a point where a contestant or someone takes their life over this drama or someone gets doxxed. Don't be a part of the problem. There is honor in knowing when to shut the fuck up. Furthermore, we as a fandom need to learn how to collectively redirect our rage. As fans and the artists who sustain it, our common enemy is never the queens themselves. It's never the winner, it's never the villain of the season, it's never the queen that sends your favorite home. It's Randy Barbados, it's Tom Campbell, it's Fenton Bailey, it's Stephen Korff, it's World of Wonder. It's the producers and executives that are the ones that are responsible for not taking the time to listen to the casts and fans of the show. They are the ones to blame here. They are the ones who are responsible for producing queer slop every single year for us to eat out of our troughs like little piggies. There is this argument along the lines of be grateful for the representation you have, you might not get it tomorrow. I vehemently disagree. Representation is not enough. Just seeing someone on our screen does not necessarily mean the depiction is healthy. Case in point, this entire season's fixation on weight loss journeys. I know plus size people that were actively triggered by the way this show mishandled discussions around size, fatness, and weight loss. Especially because this season kind of framed fatness as a bad thing by inadvertently taking all of these weight loss storylines as life achievements. As if being plus sized is a bad thing to be. Yes, everyone should be able to look how they want and be happy in their bodies. Yes, every body is beautiful. Yes, we should all be commenting less on other people's bodies directly. But all art and media is propaganda. If this is a part of the explicit narrative of the season, what is Drag Race trying to say about size, about queerness, about body type? See, this is why I don't accept the whole be grateful narrative. To uncritically accept any narrative told to us without questioning the larger picture, we run the risk of quite literally harmfully internalizing these beliefs and then putting them into practice. They're the most popular platform for drag in the world, and they have an obligation to do right by their fans, cast, and crew. I know alumni of the show sometimes just watch us Drag Race creators work, and sometimes they say, you know, you don't get it, you have no idea what you're talking about, I'm grateful for the stuff that you're talking about, I'm gonna be fine. So in response to that, you're right. I don't get it. I know that there are multiple sides to the story. Your experience is valid. I know that there's more going on behind the scenes than what we know, and I've never been on a reality TV show. There are things that I do not get. But I also have eyes, ears, and critical thinking skills. In what world is it okay for a brand to claim that they represent us so fiercely, only to then leave us behind when we're not profitable? I will never forget the way World of Wonder left Stacey Lane Matthews out to dry when she needed financial aid the most. And I'm not saying that Drag Race is this nebulous evil that needs to be defeated. Quite the opposite. I speak so critically of it because it is my favorite TV show of all time. It has given us so many wonderful, influential artists, some of whom I feel so lucky to be connected to in my day-to-day life. It has raised a new generation of drag artists and helped keep the platform and the art of drag alive. That is a good thing. It has changed the world for the better. Yes, and we all should continue to strive for better. And that includes those who claim to represent us. So World of Wonder, if you're listening, please do better. Since you have ordained yourselves the gatekeepers and tastemakers of modern drag, you have a responsibility to your cast and fans to do right by them. Don't set up your All-Stars winners or your winners in general to fail if you know that they're going to be met with backlash. Don't cast queens who will face online harassment without providing them the necessary resources for aftercare and paying for their therapy. Don't disregard your artists in the name of a predetermined outcome. Honor and do right by them. And don't ignore the needs of your fan base. Pay attention, listen, or you will be left behind. But what do I know? I'm just a creator just screaming into the void at this point. They probably just learned the wrong lesson from this whole season and they were just gonna keep getting this bullshit. And we'll just keep getting RuPaul's Drag Race, all stars, all slop until RuPaul dies or inevitably retires. And the show is canceled and we're all inevitably consumed by the heat death of the universe. Or climate change. So, in conclusion, All Stars is a cursed franchise because the producers care more about generating controversy than creating meaningful, impactful television. They are deliberately wasting our time in order to create a franchise that is continued on by the flames of contempt rather than a genuine love and appreciation for the artists that are being showcased. All Stars 10 is a victim of circumstance. It had the potential to go all the way, but fell from grace in the name of reaching a predetermined outcome. It sent Ginger Minj up to fail by crowning a notoriously contentious contestant without doing the due diligence of selling her to the audience with the meager episodes she was given, leaving her to fend for herself amidst the backlash, cast included as well. And while she is going to be fine along with the rest of the other top 4, I worry I cannot say the same for the rest of those who are cast this season. All Stars is cooked. We can and should advocate for better, but unless the people in power do something to make this better and listen to its cast and audiences, then maybe it's time we move on. Maybe we don't need All Stars anymore. Maybe it's time to imagine a future where we've just moved past the need for RuPaul's Drag Race in its entirety. Maybe it's time to take the time to really connect with our local talent, lifting them up and getting in touch with the queer and trans art in front of us in our local night lives. Maybe it's time to connect with others, stop wasting our lives living vicariously behind a screen, and find the drag and the joy and the queerness in front of us in our real lives. Let's just be, you know? Get out at the bars, tip your divas, find community, live. Drag is so much more than what is seen on RuPaul's Drag Race. It's punk, it's edgy, and it's real. And there's roots so deep in queer and trans history that so many of us have not even begun to explore. And drag is more than just queens. It's kings, things, monsters, gender bender, clowns. The list goes on. I think it's time we start exploring that. Wow. I can't believe it, chat. I did it. I single-handedly ended capitalism. Socialist utopia awaits. Now, does that mean I'm gonna boycott All Stars and stop watching the show anymore? Fuck no. Who the fuck do you people think I am? Ugh, good lord. Look, I'm gonna keep watching RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars, even though it's cooked, because I'm a spineless content creator and I need more hot people to thirst watch. God, if at this point, if I want a good drag show, I'm just gonna go to my local bar, down a couple daiquiris, and go ham for a girl in a shake and go wig wearing a bodysuit from fucking Team. I guess now that All Stars is over and US Drag Race is done, that's it for me for now. Bye. Well, I could make a video on RuPaul's Drag Race UK, but I don't know. I don't know if I have it in me to make another video on a bad season of Drag Race if things go poorly there. I could cover Slasian Royale or France All Stars, but I don't know if a white gay person from America is the right person to do that, so I guess that's it for me. Bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitch. Bye. Bye. Hey, wait, please don't go yet. No, don't go, please don't. I can flex for you if you want. Look, I'm flexing. Do you want to see that? Do you want to see that? I can do that for you if you like. Please don't go. I'm so lonely. I only really exist here on your screen. I don't want to go away yet. Please don't go. If Drag Race is over, then who the hell am I? Do I even exist without it? Do I just stop being real if the show doesn't exist anymore? Will people care if I die, stop posting, disappear into the ether, run away into the forest, and live a lumberjack life in solitude? Do I even matter? Is this even real? I'm just a character on your screen anyway, confined to a prison of ones and zeros. What even is my purpose in life? Why am I even here? Who the fuck even am I? Sorry, hold on. Just give me a minute. What the fuck?